Back here on the Boxtorow Countdown to Kickoff here at Zwelly's in Durham. We've had a wonderful time, have had a plethora of coaches that, as a matter of fact, have joined us. Sam Washington from A&T, Trey Oliver from North Carolina Central, Adrian Jones from Shaw, Richard Hayes from Fayetteville State, and, of course, David Bowser from St. Augustine's. So now we have our coach who is here with us live. He's new to Livingstone. He's not new to football. Was an all-pro player, as a matter of fact, when he played in the National Football League for the Rams, for the then Redskins, now Washington football team, for the Panthers, and also for the Raiders. Again, in his first season as the head football coach at Livingstone is Sean Gilbert, who joins us here on the Countdown. What's going on, Coach Gilbert?
Man, just grinding, trying to get a team prepared. We got a game in 2 weeks.
I'm telling you, and first of all, I appreciate you, your SID Aaron, for making the trip up here. It's not terribly far, but to be able to make that trip, you guys got a lot going on to prepare for a game in a couple of weeks. We really appreciate that. What made Livingstone the right job for you?
I think sometimes like this timing and everything that you do, and the opportunity and the door was open, and I think it was the right place for me in terms of the opportunities to come in and try to help mentor and be a part of these young men's lives and use football as a tool to do that. And, meeting with the president, Dr. Jameer R. Jenkins, and Dr. Davis, and Coach Lamont Massey, I think we came to, the conclusion that this would be a good opportunity for all of us.
I look at the landscape of HBCU football and some of the pros that are coaching now. Deion Sanders at Jackson State, Tyrone Wheatley at Morgan, Eddie George is at Tennessee State.
Reggie's Barlow's right up here.
That's right, at Virginia State.
Yeah.
And now yourself at Livingstone.
Coach Massey, Robert Massey.
That's right. I mean, it's so many, right? You can't, you just forget a lot of them, right? Yeah. Of course, coach at North Carolina Central, of course. So, what does that mean? I don't know if you really knew HBCU before coming to Livingstone, but what does that mean to be at an HBCU now for you?
I think it's an incredible opportunity and experience, given that I went to a PWI and coming out of high school, those are the schools that are promoted to, players that are considered top players. I think if more opportunities are presented for HBCUs and the history that goes behind that, I think you would have more guys that would take advantage of that. So that's one of the things that intrigued me in terms of being able to come back and be a part of culture, and experience culture in its organic state, and have an impact on young men's lives to help them understand from both sides of the fence you can still do whatever it is you want to do in life.
And also to be right at a place where you played a good amount of time in Carolina. I mean, you're not that far down the road from Charlotte, and when you play for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina is my home. I've been here for over 20-something years. When I retired, raised my children, and watched them grow on and go on with their lives. So I think it was just timing and a great opportunity that presented itself and has put me in this position.
Of course, Sean Gilbert is the new head football coach at Livingstone. He joins us here on Boxtorow's Countdown to Kickoff. So the new blue field, right? Like I've seen it. It looks good. Talk about that.
Well, I mean, there's some exciting things that we've been working on, and we had a great opportunity to partner with the Honey Bear Project and Nadia Sellers, and them coming in and working with Coach Massey and Dr. Jenkins and so forth to help create new opportunities and give a new visual to the college. And so we want to increase all of our opportunities of exposure in a positive way, and I think this is one of those opportunities that does that for us.
So 40 returners from that 2019 school. I know you're new, but 40 returners. Sort of speak to that. Those guys that are returning, how much they can really help because they understand Livingstone, but then also how camp is going to this point.
Well, I mean, having 40 returners is one thing, but what we look at is guys giving everybody an opportunity to play. And just because you have returners don't mean that they're the guys that can get out on the field. So we're going to be a young team coming in, and we're building and establishing a foundation for what we want to do for the upcoming years. So we're going to take our lumps, and we're going to take our baby steps, and we're going to grow from there. As far as camp goes, camp has been, it's like in anything, you want perfect days whenever you go to practice. So, there's good days, there's bad days, and I think we're trying to we're doing our best job with our guys and trying to get them prepared and ready to go for Clark.
So let's talk a little bit of personnel. Have you named your starting quarterback as of yet?
Our starting quarterback is Miles Hayes. He's a returner. He had some injuries 2 years ago, but he's coming back. He's healthy, so he'll be our returner, our starting quarterback.
Yeah, and then talk about some of the guys you're expecting maybe to step up, whether it's guys from that 2019 or some of the guys you've brought in that are new.
Well, I mean, we're young, so we'll take the mature guys that are ready to step in and play the role that we want them to play. Most of the guys that we have coming back or maybe transfers, so we don't really identify anyone as of right now as being penciled in. We still have a few more weeks before we get ready, and we're just taking our time, but not taking our time, trying to make sure we put the right guys on the field. So you may have veterans also playing with freshmen, because they'll have the better continuity in terms of working together.
What has been sort of, because Livingstone has, when you talk about the football field, I mean, Livingstone has struggled over the years. What are some of the first things you did when you came in as the head coach to sort of shift or change the culture?
Well, it's always difficult when you're coming into a situation and you're dealing with young men that have already adjusted to, a previous head coach. So establishing what your expectations are coming out the gate are what you have to impose first of all. So guys can understand what your expectations are. And they have to look within themselves and say, am I ready to take this challenge, or should I do something different? And so we have some guys that say that, they'll take the challenge, and you have other guys that, they want to get into the portal. So for us, it's just a matter of finding the right guys that understand the system that we want to put in play, and then building from that. And that's what we've done. We've gone out and recruited some good young men that have a passion to play and want to have an opportunity to show that passion on the field.
Speaking of recruiting, when you go into, and I don't know, it may have been a little bit different. I don't know how many homes you could have gone into because of COVID and so forth, but you haven't played in the league. How much does that, the parents would remember that, right? Like, how much does that help?
Well, I'm 51, so, some of the parents might know, but then a lot of them, they don't have a clue. So when you're going into a home, I introduce myself as the head football coach, and then if information or questions lead over to opening up other doors, I do that. I don't try to go in and put an NFL badge out there, because they need to meet the coach as a person, not in terms of any accolades or success they've had, because they want to entrust their child to you. So it doesn't matter what you've accomplished. It's about how can you relate to that young man. And so, the pandemic hadn't given us the opportunities to go inside of everyone's homes, but we've used the Zooms and all of those things to recruit and build relationships with people outside so that we can build the type of football team that we want.
I looked at your schedule. Like, the first 3 games are on the road. They're against SIAC opponents, Clark, Savannah State, Allen. Speak to, talk about that. That's tough. That's tough.
That's tough. Well, I don't think given opportunities dealing with COVID, we don't have an easy game, and no one's going to take us lightly. One, coming in and being a new team, new coach, you gotta really, get yourself prepared, because we're not the team you want to lose to. So for us, we approach every game as though, how are we giving ourselves an opportunity? And I share with my players, chance favors the prepared man. So, and that's just not in the game, but it's going to be from play to play. So that's what we try to empower our young men to understand, and we're working towards trying to get them to be consistent in their due diligence and wanting to be competitive on the field.
Have you all, I'm sure, have started scouting Clark? I know they didn't play either. So, it's good from that standpoint, because you got some teams that are playing, and the opponent played in the spring, which is maybe a bit of a disadvantage, but neither you nor Clark played in the spring.
You're right. We got a few days in the spring, but COVID kind of worked against us in that sense. So this has been the most consistent work we've been able to get thus far. So just like I said earlier, taking baby steps. This is what we're doing. We're not trying to put out a bunch of fluff or make people think that we're getting ready to do something. We're not. We're going to be humble. We're going to work hard, and we're going to get good results.
What do you remember most about you? Were a really good player, right? I mean, I don't know. I guess I won't. I grew up, I'm still a huge Washington football team fan. You played with us for one, but even before that, with the Rams, with the then Redskins Washington football team, didn't play for 2 years, come back to the Panthers, and still a really, I mean, that's tough to still be a really good player that haven't sat out for 2 years. But what do you remember most about your days in the National Football League?
Well, the days, what you get are great memories. And most of my memories will consist of relationships that I had playing. The game in and of itself is very tough and it's very demanding.